A Virginia man convicted of attempting to meet a minor through an online platform will face a new trial after the state's Court of Appeals ruled that important parts of his defense were improperly withheld from the jury. James Thomas Curry, age 32, was arrested in late 2022 following a Henrico County police operation targeting unlawful online sex solicitation of minors. Detective Della Strickland went undercover using a digitally altered photo to create a profile of a girl named Kate who appeared to be underage. Although the listed age was 42, the image was modified to look significantly younger. Curry first reached out to the profile through a dating app called Meet Me and began a conversation. After being told that the girl was almost 15, Curry initially said she was too young and warned her to be careful online. But the conversation continued, and Curry's messages began to shift towards sexual topics. He mentioned things like cuddling and kissing, and suggested he could meet her in person. He also gave her his phone number and continued the conversation through text. At some points, Curry appeared to walk back the tone of the exchange. He told the girl he had no intention of doing anything inappropriate and claimed he wanted to speak with her parents about what she was doing online. He encouraged her to stay safe and said she should wait for the right relationship. But then he reminded the girl of how much he wanted to have sex with her. Despite those comments about not being serious about meeting, Curry ultimately drove 2 hours from his home in Chesapeake to meet the person he believed was a 14-year-old girl. When he arrived at the meeting location, a mall in Henrico County, he was arrested by police. After his arrest, Curry gave a statement to Detective Strickland, admitting that he had communicated with the girl online and understood she was under 15. Prosecutors introduced those statements at trial, along with the digital messages, as evidence that Curry had unlawful intent. But Curry's defense argued that if his admission was allowed into evidence, then the rest of his statement should have been heard too, including the parts where he said he was pretending had no harmful intentions and came to warn the girl rather than harm her. The trial judge ruled that those additional statements were inadmissible hearsay and allowed only the incriminating parts. The jury convicted Curry of using a communication platform to engage in unlawful solicitation involving a minor and sentenced him to 10 years in prison with 5 years suspended. Curry appealed, and last month the Virginia Court of Appeals reversed the conviction. Writing for the court, Chief Judge Marla Graf Decker said the trial court had made a legal error by excluding the exculpatory portions of Curry's statement. She cited Virginia's common law rule of completeness, which requires that when a defendant's out-of-court statement is used as evidence, the jury must be allowed to hear the full context, not just the parts that favour the prosecution. The court ruled that Curry's intent was a central issue in the case and that his statements about trying to protect the girl, whether believable or not, were relevant to his defense. Because the excluded content could have influenced the jury's decision, the court determined the error was not harmless. The opinion also clarified that the rule of completeness applies to spoken statements, not just written or recorded ones, and can override hearsay objections when fairness requires. As a result, Curry's conviction has been overturned, and the case returns to the trial court for possible retrial. Prosecutors have not yet announced whether they plan to pursue it again. The ruling does not absolve Curry of wrongdoing, but it reinforces an important principle in the justice system that a person's full statement must be heard if it's introduced at trial, not just the parts that support a conviction. To stay up to date on the latest crime and justice news, subscribe to Breaking Through News on YouTube or at breakingthrough.com.